Welcome to the Dream Big Summit, Creating a Better World for Yourself and the Planet. And today, this is a recording that you're watching. It is the solar eclipse day here in America. You will be watching this in the middle of October or some other time in the future, but the day we're recording this is the 21st of August on 2017. We just had this total solar eclipse, and we got to see 98% here. And so we're in this auspicious in-between time. Jenny Manion is my guest today. Very special author, published by Llewellyn Publishing, psychology graduate who is a great psychic who went through a very challenging health period in her life, healed herself of 7 years of disease, healed herself in 3 weeks with amazing tools, and then realized that she can do it and she can teach other people to do it, as well as give readings to other people and help them back to health. So this is an amazing treat because I don't find that many people who are really, as you know, Suzanne Wagner, who's one of our speakers here, total psychic, but they're so perceptive of the inner world. So I'm going to ask her a ton of questions of how the inner world looks. And here I want to welcome Jenny Manion to our summit here. Welcome. Thank you very much for participating, Jenny.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel so grateful and honored to be here, especially on this special day too. This is really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to jump right in and ask you about your personal journey. I know that you had the 7 years of big challenges, pains and disease, and a lot of people might find themselves faced with some smaller version or bigger version of that and find solace to know someone who magically recovered. So tell us about your journey, what happened, and how you did it.
Yes, well, I was chronically ill for 7 years. As you know, if you go to the doctors, they keep coming up with more and more prognoses and diagnoses. And first it was chronic mono. They always found the Epstein-Barr virus in my blood. Then it was fibromyalgia. I was in chronic pain and felt like I had the flu most days. Then it was a genetic blood disease, factor V Leiden, and they said I was much more likely to get a blood clot. And with that, I manifested one within a month of them telling me that in my leg. I wound up in the hospital for a week. Oh. And the last was Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, benign hypermobility. And that was, I guess, the most grim because they said I would most likely be in a wheelchair, possibly as soon as a year with the way my body and legs were deteriorating. So I did everything traditionally that you do. You know, you go to doctors, you join support groups, you try to read all the books about living with chronic pain. I went to naturopaths, which had me taking 20 vitamins a day. You know, I tried to do everything traditionally, but it was very sad. I was a young mom. I was overwhelmed. And just had a lot of limits. So like looking back, I can look at myself and see what I was telling myself in that, you know, waking up in pain and feeling horrible and sending those messages about how sick I was. So, I mean, there was no hope, according to doctors. You know, I would get worse. I would deteriorate. I'd be in physical therapy and on pain pills for life. I did always resist the antidepressants because I said I'm not depressed. I'm sad because I'm sick. There's a difference, and I want to feel how I'm feeling. I don't want to numb out how I'm feeling. So eventually I did go on pain pills. I've always had a fear of addiction. I grew up in New York City. I saw a lot of addiction. So but I noticed even then I would take like a pill to do something, you know, to be like, okay, I'm going to go out for a walk with a girlfriend. And pretty soon, you know, I would need a pill and a half every 4 hours. Like I saw that, how it built.
Right.
And that was another thing to beat myself up about. I didn't want to be on, you know, pills. So there were a couple turning points, finding a friend that I could walk with and talk to and be Jenny again, instead of mom, instead of wife, instead of all these roles that I felt like I was failing at. You know, because when you're sick, you judge yourself constantly. I'm not a good enough mom. I'm not a good enough wife. I'm not there for my family. I'm not there for my friends. So I found a friend that I would take a pain pill and go for a walk for an hour or two. And it was a therapy session. I mean, it was, oh, I'm Jenny still. There's Jenny in here somewhere. So that was part of it. I found the Sark books, which were beautiful. Susan Ariel Rainbow Kennedy, because she writes about writing gratitude lists, about changing your mindset, about doodling and being creative. And then the final thing, I guess the final catalyst, was seeing the movie The Secret. And there were a couple lines in there that really resonated with me.
Mm.
One was that our body's always recreating cells. We're 99.999% new every 11 months. So what we're telling ourselves makes a difference. And I knew I was telling myself I was sick all the time because I was in pain. And that's
Sure, right.
that was my experience.
Kind of hard to oversee, overlook what's happening.
Yeah. And then the other one was gratitude, that where are you focusing your energy? That's going to expand. And when you're sick, it is challenging to be grateful because you're focused on what's not good. You're not focused on all you have. I was very lucky I could lay in bed, a very comfy bed. I was very lucky I could read to my kids, even if I couldn't run after them the way I wanted to. There are always things to be grateful for, but it becomes challenging when you're in a chronically ill situation or something where your attention is focused on what's wrong instead of what's right. So I had decided, after seeing the movie The Secret, I was like, you know what, I'm going to cancel all my doctor appointments for a little while. I had nothing immediate. I said, I'm a psychology major. I know that where we put our emotion plays a part in our reality. I'm going to just delve into this. I'm going to read, Deepak Chopra and listen to Wayne Dyer for hours and, listen to Eckhart Tolle and do my gratitude and really watch myself talk and work with forgiveness too. That self-forgiveness, because that's really hard too when you're healing, because you can beat yourself. Why didn't I know this stuff sooner? Why have I suffered for 7 years? What did I do to bring this illness on? We have so many messages that keep going. So that self-forgiveness and forgiveness was really important for me too. And using all these tools like becoming aware and attention shifting to what was right, gratitude, self-love, really learning how to love myself because I had been beating myself up for a lot of years, and that's not healing.
Right.
I was not doing myself any favors by beating myself up, telling myself how limited I was. So it really helped me to, within 3 weeks, my pain was gone. I was off of the pain pills. I felt better than I had probably in 20 years. I felt reborn.
3 weeks of these kinds of exercises.
Yeah.
Did you feel, and I'm sure you will understand if I ask this question, did you feel a shift in who you were as a soul, or do you feel like you just reshifted your focus? In other words, part of you didn't walk out and another soul came in and said, oh, thanks, that was good. No, you feel like it was you shifting.
Yeah, I shifted my soul. And it was, after that, I had an Akashic reading, and actually there was more clearing and there was further healing, and I think that helped me delve deeper into my soul. But I think that during my illness, I had actually almost cut off part of myself because I became so egoic, so attached to this world and the pain. And I was almost buffered, I think, from getting to my soul, because there was so much in my 3D reality that was saying I was sick, and I was very much attached to that. I became my diseases.
Right. So you're attributing the healing process to reattaching, reconnecting to your soul.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, absolutely. Which is also one of the techniques that you offer to people now to reconnect them, right?
Yes, reconnective healing is about reconnecting to our divine blueprint, our divine potential. So
as a matter of fact, if I can get you to do this in the second part of our interview, to guide us through maybe a 5 to 8 minute exercise.
Absolutely. I love that. I love doing that.
Yes.
And the clip's even more powerful.
Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome. Shifting from the dark to the light. Tell me, Jenny, before we forget, I want to make everybody aware that when they click up here on this link, and whether you see it on the left or right, I can't tell, but it's up there, that link will get you to Jenny's website, and on there you will get to be able to subscribe to her newsletter, which when you do, you will get the first chapter to her book. The book is titled A Short Path to Change, 30 Ways to Transform Your Life, as well as a 9-minute free guided meditation. So, you are an amazing healer, an amazing teacher. You are an amazing psychologist, and please, everybody, take advantage of that free offer. We will dive more into your story and techniques you can help us, but you've given us so many techniques already. So let's recap what worked for you, just so we can write this all down.
Sure. forgiveness and self-forgiveness. And that's actually the first chapter of my book. And Ho'oponopono was a very powerful tool for me during that time. Self-awareness, that shifting the negative self-talk, because we have so many thoughts every day. Most of them repeat themselves and most of them are negative. So when we start paying attention to how we're talking to ourselves, we wouldn't talk to a child or a loved one the way we talk to ourselves. We wouldn't talk to an animal or pet the way we talk to ourselves.
That's a good comparison. Would I say this to someone else, like let's say a little child, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, if we did
don't,
that would be horrible. I mean,
yeah, so it's like good reality check, right?
Yeah, if we would not say it to someone we love, why are we saying it to ourselves?
Okay,
it's going to disempower us. It's going to make us feel weak, and like there's no alternative. You know, we need to switch to being our biggest cheerleader from our biggest critic, and that's it's a journey
and
to do that.
Okay, so self-forgiveness, awareness and watching yourself talk. I want to ask you in a minute specific steps of how we can shift to positive self-talk, but let's just keep going. I know you had gratitude.
Shifting your attention. Like when I used to wake up in pain, I would focus all my attention on my legs. I wonder if I'm going to walk today. Do I have to crawl down the stairs? All of that negative energy was going to my legs, instead of when I start trying to heal myself, I would focus on like 2 of my fingers or my little finger and focus all my energy and say, you know what, if there's healthy cells here, there's healthy cells in my body. And I'm really grateful for these healthy cells. So focusing on what is good instead of what is negative. And it's challenging. I mean, our mind goes to the negative as humans all the time, but we have that choice in any moment to make that decision.
You know what I love about talking to you right now, Jennifer, or Jenny, it's that you have lived through a dramatic shift. Now, you know, we've heard some of these things. Everybody does them some of the time, but like if you can create that miracle and tell us, okay, so, God, I get ahead of myself here. You are a living example. I mean, you help other people. You've helped in your practice seeing clients healing from depression, cancer, multiple sclerosis, and many other really severe conditions. Now, that's a mouthful. That's pretty amazing. I want to ask you maybe when we have time now and later how that is done, and I want to know what you say. Tell us about the Akashic Record, what that looks like. So this is going to be a chock full 2 times 30 minutes interview. So let's say, okay, so you had the refocusing on what is working.
Gratitude is a long line, that same line. When we're sick, we're in a challenging situation, we really focus on the bad. So giving the gratitude for what is right. You know, I was able to lay in bed with my kids. I was able to read to them. I was able to have the support so that I didn't have to work full time, you know, and I was able to take that time to, you know, be in my body. So there were a lot of things, there are always things to be grateful for. So, gratitude is combining love and appreciation, which are 2 super powered emotions.
Yes.
So together it does create miracles. I love gratitude is my favorite tool.
You know,
and gratitude for self is another important one, because we don't give ourselves, we'll beat ourselves up for one missed word or one little thing, but we don't say, wow, I cooked dinner for my sweetheart today, you know, or my kids, or I smiled at someone in the grocery store. I let someone ahead of me in line. Like, give ourselves that gratitude and love that we deserve.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. Tell me about, okay, God, so I got so excited about asking you about the inner dimension. So I might take that into the second part of the interview about the Akashic Records, what you see, how they work, how come that people experience healings after you've done those readings with them. But when people did that with you, let's start there. Somebody you said did an Akashic reading or healing with you. What happened? How did that feel like, and what happened to you inside?
Well, it was after I had healed, but I was still like, I healed myself physically, but it was the spiritual awakening, really, because I had started to delve into my soul, you know, starting to tell myself those positive messages. It was like my soul, you know, started to come to the forefront, and I started to connect more. My Akashic reading, one of the things that they look for is there was a shell basically attached to me. And when I was ill, my soul called out for help. And another lesser evolved soul came in to help, help, quote unquote. But also, whenever another soul is influencing you, you're not 100% your soul.
Mm-hmm.
So there was something kind of masking me connecting deeply. And my husband at the time even remembers me saying something like, I feel like I can't connect to myself anymore.
Okay.
When that Akashic clearing was done, that lifted. My prayer and intention was more powerful.
And really
I felt
reached the source.
more myself than I had in years. So, I mean, that's one of the way it shifted me. I was told that I would be a gifted healer when I got my Akashic record reading done. And I started researching healing. After I healed myself, I was like, how the heck did I do this? I want to learn everything I can about this. And I put a bunch of books on my wish list, didn't really think about it. I was just like, I want to learn this, this, and this. A package arrived before my birthday, and a reconnective healing book, The Reconnection, came in the mail. I vibrated. I was holding that book. Yeah. And I started vibrating, and that was right after my Akashic reading and clearing. And I just knew this is the next step. Wow. So it just kind of cleared the way for things to start lining up because I was more aligned with my soul.
That's the primary step. And seeing beauty, seeing love, being kind to ourselves, shifting awareness to positives, being grateful, all that opens the door to our soul.
Yes, it does.
So tell me, when you have, so how do you say now, retrospectively, it happened in 3 weeks? Did you wake up one day and it was like, nothing there anymore? Or how did you know it was 3 weeks?
I remember 3 weeks later being like, I am not in any kind of pain anymore. I think after a week, maybe I still took half a pain pill or something like that. But my pain pills were dwindling, and after 3 weeks, I didn't take wasn't on any medication except the blood thinner. And it took me about a year to go back to get off the blood thinner because I was anti-doctors at that point. I was like, I need to be in myself, in my own power. I'm going to go get my blood levels checked for the blood thinner. But a year back later, when I went in for the blood thinner, I told him my story, the hematologist, and he said, with your mind where it is now, it would be more dangerous for you to be on this than to take you off. And I was allowed off of it.
Are you serious? That gives me chills. Wow, somebody understood you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and help me out with any questions I may not have asked yet here that are perfect for me to ask. You are also a blogger on Huffington Post, and you recently were featured on PBS, The Whitney Reynolds Show. And I mean, you are getting all over the world with this. Obviously, people want to know. A lot of people are on pills of some kind or another. What would you say? How do you get started?
I would say first of all, it's being loving to yourself. When I was on those pain pills, they actually did help me. They helped me remember what it was like to not be in pain anymore. So I could go out for that walk with my friend. I could do these things that I was not able to do for years. So be kind and loving to yourself as you talk to yourself about the medication. This is a way for you, it's an intention. I would like to be off of this medication. How can I bring the elements in my life that this medication is representing into my life?
Okay.
And with the doctors, some of these medications you can't go right off. The Coumadin, I couldn't go right off of that. I needed the doctor's help to do that. But setting that intention and loving yourself enough, loving yourself even if you're on the medication, you're on it now because it's doing something for you. You want to get off of it. Hold that intention. What do you need to bring into your life? What tools do you need to bring into your life?
And asking for those tools to show up. And this may be one of those moments that a talk like this comes into your life to give you the insights and tools, maybe even the person, the needed doorway, exactly, to bring. Yeah, that's how it works. We ask for those tools.
Yeah,
and they come.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just knowing that we have the ability to bring ourselves into balance. We get a cut, it heals because we're not obsessed over it. We're not told by the doctors it's not going to heal.
Right.
It's a little different when we get something more serious because not only does our mind go to the immediate worst because we're human, we start building all these things in our head. The doctors, Western doctors are kind of trained on the biology model. They're not trained in the energy model. So they are going from what they know. It's not that they're bad, or anything. They're trained how they're trained, but they're limited in their perspective. I love a doctor like Dr. Deepak Chopra because he is an Eastern and Western medical doctor. So he understands the complete body.
Right.
So maybe looking for, an Eastern medical doctor. I know acupuncture is my only doctor that I use right now because
me too.
It can bring me into balance, if I'm off balance and I can't do it for myself. That is what I look for.
Right. So first look to yourself. Second, if there is absolutely somebody like a massage or something chiropractic, massage, and acupuncture are 3 modalities that kind of aid the person in coming into balance, but it doesn't overpower the body's own healing systems. So tell me, let's say you get a client and they have something going, what do you do with them that is a little bit more severe, or anything? I mean, what do you do? How do you approach them? What do you?
Well, each one is so different, and I do use my intuitive abilities when I talk to them to see what I feel like they would need most. Usually an energy session is a good place to start because if they've been in that pattern for so long, an energy session can just kind of bring in new energy, and I never look at it like I'm healing the person, but I can be that catalyst. I also, talking to them about self-love seems really important in every single case, because when you're sick, you have these messages running and they're constant.
And probably did for a while to generate that state, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, for everyone, the self-talk is important.
Yeah.
That presence is so important. What am I putting out there every day? Am I telling myself how sick I am?
So going to bed like you did is focusing on the areas in your body that work and being grateful for everything that does work, or self-appreciation. My husband and I do that sometimes, go to bed and say, what do I appreciate about you? Tell me 10 things you like about me, make a long list, or you do it for yourself, what every minute you're like, oh, this hour, I did this well. I did that well. Like, I love how you said, I smiled at that clerk. I did that really well.
It is. It is. We do so many beautiful things a day, and that is really important. And I love that you mentioned at night and in the morning are the most important times. And I love the shower too, because water is so therapeutic.
Yes.
Those are my 3 favorite times, because usually, unfortunately, those are times we're in our head with bad thoughts. I did this today, or that happened today, and that wasn't good. Instead, switch that around, because our mind's in that half awake, half asleep.
Yep.
Our subconscious is more turned
active.
On, and listening. So those are the most positive times to really do the gratitude, do the self-appreciation, do the tools that are going to make you feel good instead of focusing on what you don't want.
So tell me, when you just did these rather, what we might say, simple exercises, and you started feeling like, wow, I'm not taking the pain pills, how did the other stuff, how long did that take? Like, for example, hypermobility of something and whatever they had said.
Everything was gone in 3 weeks. I mean, I had no pain after that. And actually, it was years before I even got a cold again or anything after that. And I mean, I attribute that to, I fell in love with the chakra system and started learning about the chakras and really started tuning into my body. There's a whole section in my book about chakra system as the inner diagnostic system. As, okay, I have a sore throat. Uh-oh, what am I not speaking up about? Like really tuning in to use it to understand my body. Our body's always sending us messages. We're just not used to listening. Our body isn't here to punish us. It wants to tell us when things are out of balance, though, so we can bring ourselves back into balance.
I think that's a super important message right there. Listen to the small signals so you don't have to wake up to larger signals. Yeah.
Yes.
And
a lot of times as women, too, we push ourselves. Aren't we supposed to be perfect and do it all for everyone? And, smile while doing it. And, in the background, I call myself a recovering perfectionist, because I did want to do for everybody. And when we do that, and we're sacrificing ourselves, and we might feel resentful subconsciously, and if we're not taking care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else. And that's a very hard thing for a lot of people to learn.
So do you teach your clients sometimes to say no, or just
say Boundaries are really important. And one of the aspects too is influences. Who are you spending your time around? Are you spending your time around people that complain all the time but don't do anything about it to
Right.
change their life?
Yes.
Are you the caregiver all the time? What are you doing for yourself? I mean, that's a
Right.
huge thing too. If you love yourself, guess what? You're getting out for those walks, or you're doing things that you're passionate about. You know, for me, it's dance and
Yeah.
walking and taking care of my flowers. You know, all
Yes.
of those things are critical for my
Nurturing.
well-being.
Yeah. And discovering for each person it being different. But
Yeah.
yes, so
Yeah.
find out what you really thrive on. I mean, it's whatever it is, whatever you,
Yeah.
when it makes you feel like, a cup of tea, a nice book. For me,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just combing my hair or doing silly things where it's like self-care, whatever
Mhm.
it is for each one of us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's so
Yeah.
beautiful that we're all different and have all those different passions too, and
Right.
just honoring them. And it's fun exploring, you know, what does make you feel like that? When was that last time you felt that joy and connection, and
Right.
everything kind of went away and you were just present in that moment?
Right, right, right. So tell me, when you go, and I want to, we'll have to come to an end with this in a couple of seconds, and I want to go into seeing into the inner worlds. What do you see in the Akashic records? What are they? For some people, it may be, yes, of course, I know about them. For other people that are listening, it's like, oh, well, I've heard about it. Tell me more. I'd love to just get started on that conversation, and then
Hmm.
get into that in the second segment. So tell me about the Akashic record. Step me up a little bit. Explain what it is. What do you do to get there, and where is it located? When you say energy body, we have the physical, we have,
Hmm.
just step us up through. And what does it do, and why does it matter when we go there? Why does it change things there to here?
Whew, that's a mouthful.
I
Okay.
know. We have 4 minutes.
Okay. The Akashic Records is the records of basically everything, every lifetime, our energy, our buildings, everything in this universe, our relationships we've had with every single person, our role in every single lifetime. So when I go into the Akashic Records, and I will take people sometimes too on a guided meditation to get there so they can access their records.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go into a meditative state, and I basically, it's a, meditation process that I go to. And when I come to the Hall of Records, I mean, I picture it like this humongous library almost in the clouds, like just beyond human, just massive and beautiful. And anytime I go to the Akashic Records, all I feel is love. And that's what I feel like that other realm is.
Yes.
It is just love. And when I ask my guides to help me go inside and access someone's record, I feel very supported, and I feel a lot of love.
And so you find somebody's details and you pull them up in index cards, or what do you do?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I was taught that however you want to see it is right. But actually it's funny. I was taught not to touch the record. Some people imagine big books, big volumes of books. I almost imagine it almost like a computer screen, although I don't really see a screen, but like information.
Okay.
Just that I'm accessing information. That's the easiest for me to picture.
So,
and I will ask questions about that person.
Okay, and then, so let's say somebody had come to you with a somewhat severe disease, and then give me an example of somebody come, or maybe a client of yours has come, and maybe one moment where you go like, wow, I saw this information come, and that was really the turning point.
I had a client who came to me most of the time. I don't know anything about the clients. It's actually more challenging when I do know the clients, because then I have to fight my inner self and be like, okay, I don't want nothing subjective, all objective. But
right.
Clients just come to me with their names, and I got a name, and I knew she had stage 4 cancer, and I was able to look into her record, and actually it was something this lifetime. I was like, in this year, you had you had a really big challenge, and that is when you contracted breast cancer.
She did. Not you, not she. I'm very careful always when we speak to a camera. We don't want to say you, because me to you is like, now, okay, they them. She did.
Yeah, and she did. And she actually, that was when her husband had cheated on her. So even though, and she did accept him back after a year, but she never fully trusted him again. She never had that self-love, because she was in a relationship where she felt like she got back even though she shouldn't have.
I see.
She didn't have that divine love. So it's very powerful to find that moment, that defining moment. That doesn't always happen,
Right.
necessarily. But in this case it did, so that came through clearly the year that something occurred. I knew it was fourth chakra is relationship related. So I knew because of where that came in, the breast are
Sure.
fourth chakra related.
Right.
So it is really helpful to know the energy body. And when we change that energy, when we do that clearing, it's both. Okay. It's a fast track on your path. I do look at us as we are all divine beings. There's free will. We can change things, but the Akashic clearing changes things on that multidimensional level.
Yes.
Where it makes it a lot faster.
Yeah.
When I do an Akashic clearing for someone, I give them a 21-day prayer that they say, because I want their intention behind it. This needs their intention behind it. Yes, I want to clear these contracts. I'm ready to let go of this karma. Cool. So while, me and my team, might do the work, it's really about them too.
Yeah.
Healing is always about you. It's always a personal journey.
Right.
So like I said, I can be a catalyst. I've got a lot of tools. I love my tools. I'm always gaining more, but it is about you loving yourself perfect, loving yourself whole, and gaining whatever tools it is that's going to help you get to that place.
So fast forward that story for me, for that lady with stage 4 cancer.
Yeah, that was a sad story, actually. I mean, she couldn't let go of the pain. She couldn't let go of the pain, and she couldn't let go of him. So that was a case where it would not heal. There were other cases where there's a case that's beautiful. Like I do group sessions. Well, when I tap into the energy realm, I can do a session for everyone in the room.
Okay.
So there was a client that I was working on that had stage 4 cancer, and I'd gotten that he had given up, and his wife was very sad, and didn't know about any of this stuff. And during an energy session, she saw herself in lifetimes with him, and knew that she would be with him again, and was granted this state of peace and love and joy. So, I mean, healing can be so many different ways. I've had, my sweetheart, his sciatica pain went away just from the Akashic Records work. Oh. And I had told him, I was like joking, I was like, oh, your ex-relationship's kind of a pain in your butt, And honestly, he did have blockages, in his lower chakras that were stopping him from being whole. We used to go on walks. You'd have to stop every 20 to 50 feet. Now we walk 15 miles. There's no stopping. Awesome. So the Akashic Records was able to do that. But again, it's the person's intention behind it.
Right.
If they're willing to, I think the first client I talked about, she could not forgive herself. Even with all the clearing, even with she was still in the relationship. She didn't want to be in the relationship, but she felt kind of stuck because she was sick, and she wouldn't allow herself to move on. And everything is a personal journey,
right?
And it is challenging being a healer when people don't heal in the way we see, but she came to some healing around it and was able to process a lot. And that was the gift in it, to understand.
Well, the biggest gift is that we do that before we transcend. We need to reach whatever resolutions, because if not, we repeat. Children who are born with birthmarks, they carry whatever trauma from the last lifetime, usually the moment of death. If people can manage to stay awake, alert, and conscious, and envision the better future, it will catapult them. Even actually, most of us, I'm now, I'm like, I have dreams where I go like, oh, next lifetime, I'm going to be an opera singer again, or a singer again, which is what I've done in past lives. And I have this burgeoning desire, but this lifetime is not about that, but my soul really loves it, is missing it. So I'm like already planning, wherever that'll be, I'm going to sing.
And that's beautiful. It's so powerful knowing, that we are so much more than our bodies, and not limiting ourselves to that, not limiting ourselves to this existence. feeling we got to pack everything in, otherwise we've missed something.
Right. We keep going on.
We keep going on.
Well, I want to take this conversation into the discovery of what you perceive in the inner realms, what the visions are like, and also some guided imagery you can talk us through to stimulate that self-healing. And then for everybody who has joined us here on this free conversation, I thank you for being here. Thank you for Jenny to be here, Jenny Manion.
Thank you so much.
And get her first chapter from the book, A Short Path to Change, 30 Ways to Transform Your Life, up here. Click there and get also the free 9-minute guided meditation with it. So there we are. Thank you very much, Jenny.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you again in the second portion. And
sounds wonderful.
Awesome. And for all access people, we'll see you in just a minute at the video below. Thank you so much.